कर्णे शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So we were looking at the first verse of the second chapter, okay, and second chapter, that is second Mundaka, in which second section or chapter you can say?
Khanda.
Yeah. So the second khanda of the second Mundaka, first verse we saw, which was Avisannihitam.
We finished that last week, right?
Nama, yeah. Mahat padam atra etat samarpitam etat pranan nimisaccha etat janatha sadasad varenyam param vijnanat yad varistam prajanam. So this is the verse we saw last time, and let's just go through the meaning of this verse quickly. So Avihi means self-luminous or self-revealing. So in this self-revealing means what? That is also we have to be clear. We have to understand that very clearly. Self-revealing means that which does not require a means of knowledge to be known, okay, because all other things have to be known by using a means of knowledge, but myself, I don't require any means of knowledge, because using a means of knowledge means the knower is already implied. The knower need not be separately revealed or established before we use any means of knowledge, and the knower is there even when no means of knowledge is being used. Like you are in your deep sleep, there is no means of knowledge operating at that time, nothing is known, but still I am there. I am there always. I slept, I dream, I am awake. So the I is the invariable. You can negate everything else, but the negator cannot be negated. That is a very important thing for us. In fact, that is what differentiates us from Buddhists. So, in fact, that is why the interesting thing in our culture is this Pujyam we say. Zero is called Pujyam. Now, zero means there is really no zero or vacuum, because there has to be a consciousness to be aware of even the vacuum, correct? So, if you take away all names and forms, everything, and if you think only space is left, even to cognize that, the consciousness has to be there. So, even if you remove everything, whatever is left is consciousness, which is Pujyam, which is worthy of your worship. In fact, Pujyam means that is worthy of your worship. So, that is something very interesting in our culture. So, what is there as it is, and that which need not be revealed through any means of knowledge, that is you, that is yourself, and that self is self-revealing, exactly because it doesn't require any means of knowledge to be revealed. So Avihi and Sannihitam also is an interesting word, that which is nearest to you. In fact, even your body is away from you, because you can objectify your body and know your body. So that's why even though we use the word I with respect to our body, it is actually a mistake. That is a mistake you have to correct. You have to do mananam, you have to do nidhyasanam, and correct this mistake of placing yourself or I with reference to your body. body is also an object of your knowledge. It can never be the subject then. You are always the subject. Okay. So whatever I know is not I. It's a very simple thing. Correct? It's a simple statement. Whatever I know is not I. I am always the subject. I am always the knower, at least with reference to an object of knowledge. And I can never be the object of knowledge. So anything which is an object of knowledge is not I. So this, you can even do it as some kind of an nididhyasanam. Okay, you can sit and try to objectify everything, your body, your mind, all the thoughts which are rising. They are also objects of your consciousness. So different thoughts come and go. The thought consciousness is there, and if consciousness is alone is the invariable, which is cognizing even the thoughts which are arising in your mind, and that is Brahman, and that is you. So that is the teaching. Actually it is a simple thing, but it is also a very subtle and difficult thing, because we are used to knowing everything as an object, and we are also, even during the teaching of Vedanta, when the teaching is being done and when your Swarupa is revealed as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, even then there is a tendency to try to know oneself as an object or wait for some special experience and all that. See, there is, even in an experience, there is always an experiencer is you. Okay. The experience and the experienced are all changing all the time. I am the invariable in every experience, in every cognition. That is something which has to be known. It is not a matter of experience. Every experience is only revealing the fact that I am the invariable. That is something you should be aware of. You should be reflecting upon also, okay, because it is slightly complicated or subtle to understand initially. So you cannot know yourself as an object. So you have to give up that tendency at some point in time when you are studying Vedanta, and that is a very important thing. And but still, this Atma is available to you in your buddhi only. Understand that, because it is available as the awareness. It is manifesting itself in your buddhi. So it is available in every cognition as the invariable consciousness is, and that is yourself. That is the real Atma. So it is available to you in every cognition. Pratibodha viditam matam. Upanishad says very beautifully. This has to be assimilated properly. So Atma need not be known as an object, because it is self-revealing, and it cannot be known as an object also, because it is always the eternal subject. And when no object is there, Atma doesn't even have the status of a subject. Understand that. Atma is Atma. It is. Even the status of being a subject is relative. Only when an object is there to be known and a means of knowledge is available to know the object, Atma becomes a subject. Otherwise, Atma is. That's all we can say. We cannot say anything more than that. Anything other than that is only error. It's a wrong notion. You have to get rid of that. So that Atma is the Mahatpadam, correct? It is the ultimate goal. Knowing this Atma or gaining this Atma, we have to say, because it's really not a gain in the sense of going somewhere or obtaining something, but gaining the Atma through knowledge is the ultimate goal. It should be the only goal, in fact, because there is nothing else worth striving for us in this world. Everything else only gives you a limited result, and we are all still going after limited things, thinking that somehow it is going to solve your problems or make you feel better, but that's not going to really happen. So you have to at some point in time make this decision that moksha is what I want really. That's what we saw in this Upanishad also. Parikshya lokan karma chitan nasti akritaha kripena. So akritaha, that which cannot be obtained by any karma, any action, that is the limitless Atma, limitless Brahman, and that you can never gain by doing anything in this world or hereafter also. So that has to be clear to you. That has to be very clear to you. Not only clear, but it has to be assimilated. Even this, in fact, that is talked about as a qualification for even being a student of Vedanta. That you have analyzed what is Nitya, what is Anitya, what do I really want, and I want the Nitya Phalam, I want the Ananta. That clarity has to be there. That has to be there as a what do I say? It should come after doing some analysis of your own experiences, and it has to be a firm conviction that what I want in my life is this only. I want moksha. I want the limitless. And the only way I can get this limitless is to know myself as that limitless. And that's why we are doing all this study. So that is the ultimate goal. That is the only goal worth living for. So that is the Mahat Padam. And in that Brahman, everything is resolved. Etad, atra etad samarpitam. What all? Ejat pranan nimishacha. So everything, that which moves, that which is alive, that which is living, and that which closes and opens its eyes, that means all the beings, okay, all the beings are all resolved in this Atma. They are all placed. Samarpita means they have the Atma as the Adhishtanam. Their very existence is being lent by this Atma. Okay, so that is the important thing. So everything is this Brahman, and that Brahman is being talked about as a self-revealing Atma here, because Avihi means it is self-revealing, and that is only your own self is self-revealing, and that is now equated with the Brahman in which everything is samarpitam, everything is placed or resolved. So this is actually a Mahavakya. This particular Upanishad Vakya here also can be considered as a Mahavakya, because it is talking about the identity between your Atma and the Brahman. And that Brahman is what? Sadasad, Varishtam, Varenyam, all these words are being used here. So it is Sad means here that which has a form, which you are able to cognize, and Asat here means that which does not have a form. So formless things also we cognize, and or some concepts and all that you can say. So Sat and Asat both are this Brahman only. Okay, that or Sat and Asat means that which you can know and that which you cannot, or that which you cannot know with your senses, but you are able to infer, like a black hole or whatever. Correct. So Sad and Asad both are this Brahman, and this is Varishtam. Brahman is Varishtam means it is the best. If I simply translate Varishtam means best. Best means what here in this context? It is free from any wants, free from any limitation. That alone is this Brahman. It is Varishtam. And it is Varenyam also. It is the most worshipful. Varaniyam, Varenyam. Okay. So, because there is nothing else for you to really aim for, correct? This is the only thing which will give you the limitless, and which is the limitless, and limitless alone is worthy of our worship. And that Vijnanat param also here. So in this context again, Vijnanam sometimes is used to mean consciousness itself. But here it is used in the sense of perception and inference. Okay, the worldly means of knowledge like perception and inference. So whatever we know through them, this Brahman is param, means it is beyond this perception and inference because it is yourself. Correct? The only thing which is really beyond being an object is the self itself, which is the subject, because all other things become objects of some means of knowledge. Brahman alone is self-revealing and it cannot be known as an object because it is yourself. Self cannot objectify itself and at the same time know itself. So that is what you have to understand. Again, this is a subtle thing. It has to be understood properly. So Vijnanat param and Prajanam Janata Yetad. Okay, so this is, so when we say Prajanam Vijnanat param means it is beyond the objective knowledge of all beings. For everybody, the self is the same. Understand that there is only one self, which is Brahman. There is only one consciousness, because we cannot establish a second consciousness, because consciousness never becomes an object of your any means of knowledge actually. Because what we really see are only bodies. Understand that. We see other sentient beings. That doesn't mean we are objectifying the consciousness. Consciousness is always self-revealing and it is only one, because Veda itself reveals the Brahman as Ekameva Advitiyam and also as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So that being the case, there is no question of having a second consciousness. There is only one consciousness which is appearing in many bodies as awareness. And that consciousness is the real me, because all other things come and go, including my individuality. So the main thing for you is to be able to look at your own individuality also as Nitya. So this is something again you have to contemplate on, because your individuality comes only in your waking. As soon as you wake up in the morning, the individual is there. But that individual only now has to do the analysis whether his or her individuality itself is a reality or not. And obviously the individuality also is Nitya, because it comes and goes. It is not your Swarupa. That has to be clearly understood. That's a very important thing to reflect on and also to assimilate. And if you are able to assimilate that properly, then you can play the role of an individual out of your own fullness. Understand that. You can still play any role in this creation, because the upadhi of an individual is limited, obviously, and it has a script given by Isvara. Now that individual can follow that script happily out of your own fullness without having to undergo all the pains of being an individual. Then you are only playing a role. It is like an actor playing the role of a beggar. Now if you have enough space, if the actor is going to get $1 million for playing a beggar, then he is going to take all the effort to play the beggar's role to the best of his ability, correct? He is going to cry, he is going to whatever, have the best costume for that. And while playing the role of the beggar also, he is actually appreciating himself. See, I am playing so well and I am getting a lot of applause, etc. So like that, if you understand who you are really, your nature, that is Purnam, that is limitless. And out of that fullness, then you can have any role to play in any upadhi, it doesn't really matter. The role being played in the upadhi, you don't have to decide what's going to happen to the individual. That Bhagavan has given a script, there is a prarabdha karma, let it take its own course. You can still enjoy the prarabdha which Bhagavan has allotted for you. Okay, so that is the beauty of this. So this is what you have to understand. This is a very beautiful verse we saw last time, and now we will go to the next verse. Okay, so yad archimad yad anubhyonucha yasmin lokaha nihitaha lokinascha tad etad aksharam brahma sa pranaha tadu vangmanaha tad etad satyam tad amritam tad vedhavyam somya vidhi. So this is the second verse. So tad etad aksharam brahma. So again, tad etad is a very peculiar Sanskrit usage. Okay, so that Brahman, which I am now again, which is the subject matter of our discussion, that Brahman which was already talked about in the previous Mundaka and also Khanda. Now we are talking about that Aksharam Brahma. Okay, what is it? Tad etad Brahma Archimad. So what do we mean by Archimad? Archimad means that which is shining. Archihi also sometimes is used in the meaning of fire. So here again, once again, the Jyoti Swarupa of the Atma is talked about. Atma is Swayam Jyotihi. Okay, so this Atma is self-revealing and it doesn't require any other means of knowledge to know. That's what we were discussing. Same thing is again talked about here. And why Upanishad is repeating this again and again? Because as I told you, the subject matter is subtle, and when teaching difficult matters, repetition is not a dosha. So out of its own karuna, the Upanishad is again talking about these things here. So that Aksharam Brahma which is shining, and Anubhyaha Anuhu, see here, Anoraniyan, like that also in another Upanishad it is talked about, Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan in Kathopanishad. So here also Anubhyaha Anuhu, it is smaller than the smallest, or it is the atom of the atom. Anu means atom and all, you can translate, correct? So here the idea is what? This Atma, or we have to say it is subtler than the subtlest, which is the meaning. Anubhyaha Anuhu means what? It is very subtle. It is yourself in fact. Okay, so it does not, it is actually beyond space and time. So how do we explain that? So as I told you, you can either remove all the names and forms, and what remains is the Atma, which is Pujyaha, correct? So in our culture, there is no zero, understand that. Zero is called Pujyaha or Pujyam. Why? Pujyam means really worship worthy or worshipful. Because even if you remove everything, whatever is there is Atma alone. Atma alone is there. Even to cognize nothingness, the consciousness has to be there. So you can negate everything, but the negator cannot be negated. It's a very important point. You have to understand that. And that Atma is anoraniyan or anubhyaha anuhu. It is subtler than the subtlest, smaller than the smallest. Because even if you have reduced everything, even in modern physicists will understand this even better, correct? You can reduce everything to atoms, particles and all that. And what again you arrive at is that the consciousness is the adhisthana for anything and everything. And that consciousness, whether you go by dissecting everything or you go cosmically, you look at the whole universe and then also what? Everything is Atma. Mahato Mahiyan also it is Atma alone. What was there before the Big Bang is also Atma. So it is Mahato Mahiyan, at the same time it is Anoraniyan, because it is actually beyond all spatial classifications or categorizations. Understand that. Space-time, it is actually beyond space-time. That is the actual meaning of all this somewhat contradictory descriptions. So it is the subtlest, and again at the same time what beautifully it is said here, Yasmin lokaha nihita lokinascha. So in which lokaha here means what? The different worlds you can say, or sometimes lokyate iti lokaha means all your experiences, that which you experience, all fields of experiences we can take. Even pariksha lokan also we take it like that, because in reality we can't go to all the lokas and do the pariksha. So it is about your own experiences, different fields of experiences. So in which all your experiences, and lokinaha, those who live in the different worlds, correct? All the worlds and those who live in these worlds are all your experiences and the experiencer. Lokinaha, the different experiencers. Nihitaha. Nihitaha means what? They have their very being. So Brahman or Atma is the adhisthana for both the subject and the object. That's what is being revealed here again. So all the lokas and the beings who live in that loka are all the experiences and the experiencer. Okay, all the objects which you experience are all lokas, and lokinaha is all the experiencer. So experiencer here is the awareness which manifests through a particular mind, body, mind, sense complex. So both the subject and the object have their being in this Brahman alone. So in this Brahman, they are nihitaha, means they have their very being. The Brahman or Atma is the adhishthanam for both the subject and the object. And saha pranaha. So that Brahman alone is the prana. And it is also tadu vangmanaha. It is also speech and mind, vak and manas. Tad etad brahma. So that tad etad again actually means the Brahman, which is satyam. So satyam here is an ontological term. Okay. So satyam means what? That which is there. Trikale api tishtati is one way of saying it. Or Shankaracharya in the Taittiriya Bhashya defines Satyam as what? Yad rupena yen nishchitam bhavati tad rupena na vyabhicharati iti Satyam. So that which you ascertain in which form, it remains in the same manner regardless of the time. So if you ascertain the nature of something, then that nature never changes. Na vyabhicharati. That is nothing but only consciousness is like that. Everything else is changing. Atma alone is the unchanging in every cognition, in every experience. And that alone can be called as Satyam. All other things are Mithya. Again here three orders of reality are there. We talk about it. So there is a Vyavaharika Satyam, we say, or transactional reality. So whatever we do in the waking world has a transactional reality, or it is called Vyavaharika, where you do the Vyavahara, your own transactions, you are living a life, and that is called Vyavahara. And Vyavaharika Satyam is there. Then even in this Vyavahara, everybody is not objective. We are all having our own subjective projections everywhere. And the most subjective of the projection is your dream itself, because nobody else even has any access to that. So again, dream is one type of subjective projection. Then seeing things like snake on the rope, these are also subjective projections. And even you can take it little bit more. Some people have emotional problems and they project things on others which are not reality, and they are living within fighting their own projections of others. In fact, that's a tragedy. So if you have to live at least a happy life relatively, first you have to get rid of your projections. Try to appreciate what is there objectively. So once you are able to accept the reality, even in this world, then you can do something about it. Then your life will be much better. So anyway, so there is a subjective projection which is called Pratibhasikam. The Sanskrit term used is Pratibhasikam. So there is a Pratibhasika is there. Even seeing mirage water, all these things are called Pratibhasikam. And the regular, whatever things we know through our perception and inference, these are all Vyavaharika. And Brahman or Atman alone is Paramarthika Satyam. Paramarthikam means it is the ultimate reality. Paramartha, Parama Artha. So Paramarthika Satyam is our own self alone, because Paramarthika Satyam alone is really Satyam. Yadrupena yen nishchitam bhavati tadrupena na vyabhicharati. We can only say that for consciousness is, which is Atma. Everything else comes and goes, changes. But in every cognition, that which is invariable is this Atma, and that Atma alone is the invariable, and that alone is Satyam. Nothing else can be called really as Satyam. Even the word Vyavaharika Satyam is only a provisional usage of the word Satyam. Okay. So, and then Amritam. So this Brahman is immortal. Amritam means basically not subjected to time. That is the idea here. Brahman has no limitation with respect to time, and that's why it is called Amritam. So Amritam Brahma means Brahman does not have any limitation with respect to time. It is immortal. Vedhavyam, Tad Vedhavyam. So Vedhavyam means what? It's Tavya Pratyaya actually. So Tavya, lot and all have the same meaning. Tavya, Aniyar Pratyaya in Sanskritam. So it has to be understood by you. You should understand, like that the meaning is. So the Atma should be understood in the way it has been revealed till now. Hey Somya. Somya means oh the pleasing one, oh dear, like that. So, and again Vidhi. May you know it. Vidhi. So Vedhavyam, it has to be known like this, and may you know it. Oh dear. Like this, the Guru is actually telling the Shishya. So this is the verse here, and so we will stop with this verse for today. We will continue it next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.